At Alex's apartment, Juliana's driver stood patiently by the car, waiting for Alex to join him. He had already loaded Alex's laptop bag into the trunk. Alex glanced at his phone, hesitating for a moment before typing out a message to Lucy. "Hi babe, I'm sorry for everything. I'll make it up to you once things settle down. Please trust me." He stared at the message for a second before hitting send. With a sigh, Alex climbed into the car and the driver started the journey to Juliana's house. When they arrived, the driver parked in front of Juliana's grand estate and led Alex inside. He guided him to a beautifully furnished room that looked more like a luxurious hotel suite than a bedroom. The walls were adorned with tasteful artwork, and a massive bed was draped in plush linens. The driver gestured toward the expansive wardrobe. "This is your room. Madam has already had it stocked with clothes in your size. Feel free to make yourself comfortable." Alex looked around, taking in the opulence as the driver continued. "The chef only comes by invitation, as Madam prefers freshly made meals. If you're hungry or think you'll get hungry, you'll need to inform the chef 2 hours ahead of time. Or you can order food yourself." He handed Alex a sleek credit card. "This is for groceries and other minor expenses. If you want to go out, these 2 remotes are for the cars outside. You can take whichever one you like. If you'd rather have me drive you, just let me know." Alex blinked, taking the card and the remotes. "Thanks. I appreciate it." The driver gave him a polite nod. "That's all for now. Madam is out, so you won't see her until later. Enjoy your evening." As the driver left, Alex began exploring the room, opening drawers, examining the wardrobe filled with high-end clothing, and admiring the modern design of the space. Soon his stomach growled, reminding him he hadn't eaten since the afternoon. He made his way to the kitchen, hoping to find something quick. To his surprise, the fridge was nearly empty, save for some fruits and bottled water. "Seriously?" Alex muttered, shaking his head. He grabbed the credit card and headed out to the nearest grocery store. After buying some essentials, he returned and cooked a simple meal. The smell of freshly cooked rice and vegetables filled the kitchen as he plated his food. After eating, Alex settled on the living room couch, intending to wait for Juliana to return. But as the quiet of the house enveloped him, exhaustion took over and he drifted off to sleep. Juliana returned home just after 1 a.m., her heels clicking against the marble floor. She walked into the living room and froze when she saw a figure sprawled on her couch. Her heart jumped. "Who's there?" she shouted. Alex jolted awake, sitting up in confusion. What's wrong?" Juliana's eyes narrowed as she realized it was him. "Alex, what the hell are you doing on my couch? Are you trying to scare me?" Alex rubbed his eyes, still half asleep. "What are you talking about? I was waiting for you and must have dozed off." "Waiting for me?" Juliana folded her arms. "Did I ask you to wait for me? I completely forgot I told the driver to bring you in today." Alex raised an eyebrow, his voice teasing. "You act so bold. Yet a little thing like this got you scared?" "Scared?" Juliana shot back, her tone icy. "Who said I was scared? Please, next time stay in your room where you belong." Alex smirked. "Yes, ma'am." "And stop calling me ma'am," Juliana snapped, her tone sharp. "Call me Juliana. In public, you can call me sweetie, darling, or whatever saccharine nonsense you can come up with. It'll keep people from suspecting anything. These are the kinds of things you should be focusing on, not sleeping on the couch like a clueless fool." She turned toward the stairs, but Alex called after her. "For what it's worth, I made rice. It's fresh, vegetables and all. Thought you might want some since I heard you like fresh food." Juliana paused mid-step, then turned her head slightly to glance at him. Her expression softened for a fraction of a second before her usual icy demeanor returned. "I don't want your food," she said coolly. "Stick to our contract. Don't think playing the nice guy will make me like you or anything. You'll only embarrass yourself." Her words stung, but Alex held his ground. She continued up the stairs without looking back, her voice drifting down. "Next time don't wait for me. And don't ever fall asleep on my couch again." Alex watched her disappear, then let out a long breath. He looked around the room, taking in the luxury and the cold atmosphere it carried. 3 months, he muttered to himself. Just 3 months, Alex. You can do this. You have to do this. But as he stood there, the reality of the situation sank deeper. He wasn't sure if it was the money, Juliana's overwhelming personality, or the secret she carried that unsettled him most. And for the first time, he wondered if 3 months would be too long to survive in her world. Third weekend since Alex started living with Julie. Alex was in his room dressing up when his phone buzzed with a text from Juliana. We're leaving in 30 minutes. He read it, sighed, and tossed the phone aside. No hello, no instructions. Just orders, he muttered. Ignoring the message, he continued dressing. When he was ready, he made his way downstairs to the sitting room to wait. Minutes later, Juliana descended the grand staircase, her movements graceful and deliberate. She wore a stunning long gown that sparkled subtly under the chandelier, and a glittering purse dangled from her hand. Alex stood, his breath catching for a moment. He walked up to her with a smile. You look absolutely beautiful, my darling. Juliana paused mid-step, her gaze softening despite herself. It had been years since someone genuinely complimented her beauty, and for a fleeting moment, she felt warmth stir inside. But just as quickly, she masked it with her usual cool demeanor. I'm not your darling, she replied curtly. Alex smirked, unbothered. I'm just practicing. I can't suddenly start calling you sweet names in public without preparation. I might slip up, so I'll stick to calling you sweet names until this deal is over. It's the best way for me to do my job properly. Juliana rolled her eyes. Whatever. Let's go. They climbed into the car, and the driver whisked them away to her family's mansion. The estate was massive, even more imposing than Juliana's own home, with dozens of luxury cars parked neatly around the sprawling driveway. As Alex stepped out of the car with Juliana, he instinctively reached for her hand. What are you doing? She hissed. I'm doing my job, he said simply, holding her hand firmly. Juliana clicked her tongue and shook her hand free. Just follow me. As they entered the grand mansion, the first person they encountered was the family's butler, an elderly man with kind eyes and a warm smile. Miss Juliana, the butler said, his voice filled with affection. How are you, my child? Juliana's face lit up as she stepped forward and hugged him. Big Tony, I'm fine. You don't visit anymore, the butler said, his tone slightly reproachful. Have you forgotten what I taught you? Family is everything. Juliana smiled, a rare, genuine smile. You're always lecturing me, Big Tony. I've missed you. Big Tony chuckled. And who is this? He turned to Alex. Juliana gestured at him. This is my boyfriend, Alex. Alex extended a hand. Hello, Big Tony. The butler didn't take it immediately. That name is special to her. Only if she allows it will you call me that. After a moment, he took Alex's hand, holding it firmly. Take care of her, he said. She's not as tough as she seems. Of course, Alex replied, nodding. Come, Big Tony said. Your father has been waiting, Miss Juliana. Inside the mansion's enormous dining room, Juliana's father, Mr. Nathaniel Edwards, sat at the head of the table. Beside him was his wife, Olivia, Juliana's stepmother. Both of them turned their attention to the doorway as Juliana entered with Alex. Juliana walked over to her father and kissed his cheek. Dad, she said warmly. Alex, still holding her hand, followed closely behind. Mr. Edwards studied Alex for a moment before standing and extending his hand. So, you're the man who stole my daughter's heart? Juliana smiled faintly. Dad, meet my fiancé, Alexander. Alex shook his hand firmly. It's an honor to meet you, sir. Juliana turned to Olivia. How are you, Olivia? Olivia forced a thin smile. I'm fine. Her eyes flicked to Alex. I see your fiancé. Yes, Juliana replied curtly, leading Alex to their seats. As they settled in, Mr. Edwards said, Juliana, you've yet to greet your brother and his guest. Juliana turned to her brother, Nelson, who sat farther down the table with his girlfriend, Martina. Hi, Nelson, she said. Nelson raised an eyebrow. I thought you didn't see me. Juliana smirked. Respect is reciprocal. You could have greeted me first. Nelson shook his head. I respect tables, not pointless arguments. Let's not ruin this dinner. Better. Juliana shot back. She turned to Martina. Meet my boyfriend, Alex. Martina extended her hand, but Juliana ignored it, turning back to Alex. Alex, feeling awkward, reached for Martina's hand instead. But before he could complete the gesture, Nelson interrupted. Big Tony, can we have the food now? Alex froze mid-motion, his hand hanging awkwardly in the air. He redirected it to Martina, who shook it politely, though the moment felt forced. During dinner, Mr. Edwards turned to Alex. So, Alexander, what do you do for a living? Before Alex could speak, Juliana jumped in. He's an engineer, a very talented one at that. Olivia arched an eyebrow. Why not let him answer? Or is there something you don't want us to know? Juliana's eyes flashed. Exposed from what, exactly? Before the tension could escalate, Alex gently placed his hand on Juliana's. It's okay, darling. I've got this. Juliana froze at his touch. A flicker of something, was it gratitude, crossing her face. Alex turned back to Mr. Edwards and began speaking confidently. I'm a first mechanical engineer. I focus on practical applications, and I've been working in some of the best workshops in town. My dream is to open my own garage one day, where I can teach and direct people, but doesn't know a lot on automobile. I'm saving up to make it happen. Mr. Edwards leaned in, intrigued. Interesting. And what inspired you to pursue this field? Alex smiled and launched into a story about his childhood love for machines. The conversation flowed naturally, with Mr. Edwards asking more questions and Alex answering with ease. Juliana, sitting quietly, felt a surprising sense of pride. Alex was holding his own, even charming her father, a feat she hadn't expected. But across the table, Olivia and Nelson exchanged subtle, displeased glances. As the dinner progressed, Juliana allowed herself a moment of relief. This is working, she thought, for now. But in the back of her mind, she knew her family's scrutiny was far from over, and so was the danger of the secrets they were both hiding. As dinner wrapped up at the Edward mansion, Juliana leaned toward her father. Dad, we'll be leaving soon. It's getting late. Her father, Mr. Nathaniel Edwards, raised a hand, silencing her gently. No, Juliana, he said with a tired smile. I should have told you earlier, but this gathering isn't just for dinner. It's for the entire weekend. Everyone will be staying here. What? Juliana's eyes widened. Nathaniel coughed softly, patting his chest. Everything is arranged. You don't need to worry about clothes or anything else. Just stay. Who knows? His voice dropped slightly. This might be my last chance to spend time with you all. Olivia, his wife, quickly interjected. It won't be, Nathaniel. Don't say things like that. Juliana forced a polite smile, but her frustration was evident. She glanced at Alex, who remained composed, though his jaw tightened slightly. After dinner, Big Tony, the family butler, led Alex and Juliana to their room, a spacious and luxurious suite with a single massive bed. Alex waited until the door shut behind Tony before turning to Juliana. This wasn't part of the plan. Juliana shrugged, kicking off her heels. Then deal with it. Alex frowned. Deal with it? That's all you have to say. Juliana ignored him, heading to the wardrobe. Go to the bathroom and lock the door. I need to change. Alex raised an eyebrow. What? Why do I need to go to the bathroom? I can just turn my back and let you change. Do I really need to leave the room? Juliana crossed her arms, staring at him. I don't trust you. You might turn your back to peep. And don't forget the contract. You do as I say unless it's illegal. So I command you to go to the bathroom until I'm done. Alex stared at her for a moment, incredulous, but eventually relented. Fine. You're impossible. He went into the bathroom, grumbling under his breath. A few minutes later, Juliana opened the bathroom door, only to find Alex in his boxers, holding his suit. She froze. Why are you in your boxers? Alex gave her an unimpressed look. Because I'm changing too. What's the big deal? Juliana groaned. Get out. I need to take a shower. Alex smirked but said nothing, brushing past her as she muttered something under her breath. He returned to the room, hung up his clothes, and changed into his nightwear. Sitting on the edge of the bed, he stared out the window, reflecting on his life. 3 months, he thought. That's all. Just survive this insanity for 3 months. A dark encounter meanwhile. Lucy was at a gas station, filling up her small car. The night was quiet until a sleek black car pulled up beside her. She glanced up and froze. It was James, her ex-boyfriend. Hi, Lucy. James said, his voice cautious. Lucy gave him a polite nod. Hi. I know you're still mad at me, James said quickly. But please, I'm sorry. I've been asking you for a chance to explain, but you never let me. My life's been a mess since you left. He hesitated, his voice breaking. I love you, Lucy. I know I made mistakes, but I never stopped loving you. Please, just hear me out. Lucy finished filling her tank, her expression unreadable. Take care, James. She got into her car and drove away, leaving him standing there, dejected. In her apartment later that night, Lucy sat on her bed, staring at her phone. She dialed Alex's number for the 100th time, but it went straight to voicemail. Why? She whispered, tears brimming in her eyes. What's wrong with me? Why do I keep ending up with men who hurt me? She clutched her phone tighter, her voice trembling. You said you'd always be there for me, but you abandoned me at the restaurant. And now it's been weeks. You don't answer my calls. You're just gone. Her tears flowed freely. I know we needed the money for my mother's medical bills for our students' debts. But I should have stopped you. I should have. Her voice broke, and she buried her face in her hands, crying quietly. Minutes later, she wiped her tears, grabbed her purse, and left her apartment. At the club, Lucy drowned her pain in the music and flashing lights. She danced, her movements wild and uninhibited, a drink in her hand. A man approached her, joining her on the dance floor. His compliments were smooth, and Lucy, feeling the effects of the alcohol, didn't push him away. After a while, he leaned close and whispered, Let's step outside. Lucy hesitated but nodded, following him out to his car in the dimly lit parking lot. As soon as they were alone, the man leaned in, pressing kisses to her neck. You're so beautiful, he murmured, and so hot. How much for a quickie? I'll just go to the back. You bend over. Lucy froze, pushing him back. What are you talking about? I'm leaving. The man's grip tightened. You think you can get me worked up and just walk away? I was trying to be nice, even offering to pay. Let me go, Lucy pleaded, her voice trembling. But he ignored her, turning her roughly and tugging at her skirt. You're not going anywhere. Lucy struggled, panic clawing at her chest. Please don't do this. I'll give you money, just let me go. It's too late for that, the man hissed, his breath hot against her ear. Just as he raised her skirt, a sudden blow to his head sent him sprawling to the ground. Lucy turned, her heart racing, and saw James standing there, fury blazing in his eyes. Are you okay? He asked, pulling her into his arms. Lucy collapsed against him, sobbing uncontrollably. He wouldn't stop. James gently stroked her hair. You're safe now. He kicked the man once for good measure before helping Lucy into his car and driving her home. Outside Lucy's apartment, James parked and turned to her. Lucy, he began, his voice trembling. Do you think I'll ever forgive myself if that guy had succeeded? I'm sorry for everything, for showing up at the gas station, for bringing up the past. I didn't know my mistakes would ruin your life like this. Tears welled in his eyes. I love you. I never stopped. And if you hate me, I understand. But I'll always protect you no matter what. Lucy shook her head, her voice quiet but firm. Don't make this about you, James. My head is already full. Thank you for saving me. But I need to be alone right now. Without another word, she stepped out of the car and disappeared into her apartment, leaving James sitting there, tears streaming down his face. Inside her apartment, Lucy sank onto the couch, her mind spinning. What am I doing? What is happening to my life? She stared at her phone, her heart aching as she thought of Alex, her voice breaking into a whisper. Why weren't you here when I needed you? Back at Juliana's father's mansion, after finishing his shower, Alex walked out of the bathroom, drying his hair with a towel. He glanced at the massive bed in the center of the room where Juliana was already lying, her back turned to him, engrossed in her phone. With a sigh, he climbed onto the bed, settling on the far side. What are you doing? Juliana's voice cut through the silence, sharp and firm. Alex turned to her, confused. What does it look like? I'm getting ready to sleep. You're not sleeping here, she said without looking at him, her fingers still scrolling through her phone. You're sleeping on the floor. Alex blinked, stunned. The floor. Juliana didn't respond, her posture unchanging. You know it gets cold at night, Alex said, trying to keep his tone calm. You seriously want me to sleep on the floor? Still, she said nothing, her focus seemingly glued to her screen. Alex stared at her, waiting for her to turn, to say something, anything, but she remained still, her silence louder than words. Unbelievable, he muttered, shaking his head. He climbed off the bed and looked around the room. With no extra blanket in sight, he finally sat on a chair, resting his head on the edge of the table. Juliana, hearing his frustrated sighs, finally put her phone down. She pulled the blanket over herself, her face emotionless as she settled into the bed. Good night, Alex, she said softly, her voice dripping with mock civility. Alex raised his head slightly, glaring at her back. Good night, madam, he said under his breath. She didn't respond, already drifting into sleep, leaving Alex sitting in the cold, staring out at the moonlit window, wondering for the 100th time what he had gotten himself into.